pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Yes?
Well, that'll take us to the next item.
Item 1D, roll call. Ms. Barnes?
She did call that she would not be present.
Thank you. Ms. Borrego?
Here.
Ms. Mendoza?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Mr. Singleton? Here. Mrs. Struck?
Present.
Ms. Zuniga?
And I don't know if she's running later, that she'll be here shortly.
Thank you.
That would take us to the,
Item 1E, CISD vision and mission statements.
okay, and Ms. Trotter, if you'll help us please. Mendoza?
Mission. We provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are empowered to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
CISD vision statement, lead today, impact tomorrow.
Thank you to both of you, and that will take us to the next item.
Item number 2, board honors. 2A, recognition of Manatee Independent School District employees Michael Cangas, Marina Casana, and Albert Enriquez for their outstanding on-the-job safety practices which have helped the district meet its hazardous management goals. Presenter Gustavo Rodriguez.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Can you please join us at the front of the dais, please, for tonight's board honors. Give you all a second to catch your breath here for a moment, and then we'll begin. All right, to get started, tonight we're honoring our safety employees who have really set the standard for safety here in the district. In today's fast-paced work environment, ensuring the safety and well-being of employees is paramount. It is through the dedication and commitment to workplace safety that we can achieve a zero-injury environment. The dedication not only protects one of our most valuable assets, our employees, but also fosters a culture of safety that benefits everyone. We are proud to acknowledge the outstanding contributions of those who excel in maintaining a safe work site. These individuals have gone above and beyond by strictly adhering to safety standards, preventing injuries, and promoting a culture of vigilance and care. They consistently wear proper safety protective equipment, remind others to do the same, and make others aware of potential hazards. Their efforts have made a significant impact on our workplace safety. As part of our district safety employee recognition campaign for 2023-2024, HR has selected 3 exemplary employees who have demonstrated exceptional commitment to workplace safety. It is our privilege to recognize San Mateo ISD's 2023-2024 SCRC Honor Roll employees, and they are Michael Cangas, Marina Casana, and Albert Enriquez. In honor of their remarkable contribution, each of these honorees will receive a personalized jacket and shirt. This award not only acknowledges their dedication, but also serves as a symbol of their exceptional impact on our district's culture of safety. Please join us in celebrating Michael Cangas, Marina Casana, and Albert Enriquez for their commitment to keeping our workplace safe and Please picture taken? And can Ms. Carrasco and Dr. Rico please join them at the front for a photo as well?
Ahí nomás un poquito para allá, nomás. No, ahí estás bien, nomás ahí. There you go. One, two, three. All right.
Thank you, everybody. This concludes board hours for this evening.
I'll take this to the next item.
Item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with District Policy BED Local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on these policies, contact the Superintendent's Administrative Assistant. And President Rodriguez, we do not have any community members signed up for tonight.
Sir, may I have the floor? Since, we don't have any public, input, this evening, I would like for everyone to know that, we have a very special birthday in the house. It was her birthday on yesterday. If we could just sing happy birthday to Cindy, shall we start it out? And, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
And Ms. Moreno, recently retired like a week ago.
Yes, it's official June 30th, but I'm on vacation now before I retire. That's a good way to retire, right? 31 years.
31 years of service, so we're... So if we could sing happy birthday, as my grandkids used to say. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cindy. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, sir.
That will take us to the next item.
We have item number 4, public hearing. Public hearing regarding the proposed 2024-2025 annual budget. The public is invited to attend and provide public comment. Presenter Ms. Christy Cooley.
Or we can, I think each one should be first. 5B, and we'll do, actually, let's do D, first. Let's go backwards. Do D, C, and then, B. And then A. So item D, which is a discussion and possible action regarding Montessori program teacher and instructors center.
Good evening, President Rodriguez, trustees, Dr. Galavis. I'm here this evening to discuss with you the Montessori program. I know that we started that a year ago. This would be we started it 2 years ago. This would be our third year. We started, we had 3 teachers with their respective aides. Since their Montessori, their designation is Montessori, they're not teacher certified, so I don't have them on the teacher pay scale. I have them on the administrative pay scale. So now we're facing an issue where our neighboring district has started the Montessori program. They are paying them their teacher pay, and which is starting at $60,000. So therefore, I'm here before you this evening. I know that we've had 2 of our Montessori teachers move on to CISD along with an aide. So in order to start the Montessori program here in our district for the 24-25 school year, we are requesting an adjustment in the salary so that we can go ahead and attract those teachers back or rehire for that program if you want to continue with the program. Yes, so the other thing that is before us, if we're doing the Montessori, if you want to continue with the program, if not, we're not going to be able to carry it on moving forward. Or if you want to convert it to a pre-K3, we can do that. So I'm here for your guidance on that.
If I might, I think there's a high demand for it, and I think in regards to talking about school choice, this is important for the district as we continue to hopefully provide more choice opportunities for our kids. What I would like to see is, I know that part of the issue is they have a bachelor's degree, that they don't have a teacher certification. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But they have a certification for Montessori.
The Montessori, yes.
So one is figuring out a way to recruit teachers to possibly go into the, or not teachers, but possibly future teachers that would, want to go to a Montessori program. How do we go about it that route? And the other option I think that we need to look at is if you have a teacher certified that would want to be in that program, I think we need to look at a stipend for that. So that way we could hopefully transfer some of our existing teachers to follow. Is it a 7-month or a 9-month program?
I think Dr. Kearney had looked into that. Dr. Kearney, if you would come up, please. So I know it's a lot. For Sandy?
Yes, Sandy explored the.
Okay. So if you could explain a little bit more about your research on that.
Maybe we could provide or work with the business community, see if we could get some grants.
Yes, because I know initially the thought was that we would open up the program or try and send some of our teachers through that Montessori program. But I know when you looked at the cost and you looked at, what all it involved.
What's the cost difference between the teacher? The registered teacher and the Montessori?
Well, we're paying the Montessori teacher right now,
And
and you want us to go to teacher salary?
Right now, if I'm looking at the salaries that we offered, we have a range of the ones that we had between $46,000 and $50,000. The starting pay for our certified teachers is $60,000, so I would have to raise it to $60,000.
One of the things I do want to add, because I'm very much in favor of Montessori, and I think as long as we have a criterion, they do have a bachelor's degree. We do it all the time in education now, in public education, especially in CTE. We have people that are certified in technology or HVAC or welding, and they get paid as teachers. So recognizing the field as well. So I don't see a problem with that. That it's not a certified teacher as long as they're certified in their field. Like I said, we do it all the time.
But, Mr. Chair, but for me it's important.
Were you done?
I'm finished.
You done?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Sorry. Yeah, well, if we hire this, we have the pre-K3, them are certified, right, for early childhood, correct? We do have a pre-K 3 at, Bill Childress, and the teacher is a certified, teacher for that.
But the ones for Montessori, they're not early childhood certified.
Well, the Montessori, and Sandra can explain that a little bit more, and I think it's a different, style of teaching. But they are not Texas certified chapter 21 teachers, no.
No, well, just one thing, for example, if them are already hired, let's say that we're gonna hire those 2 or 3 teachers that we need, are they gonna have the opportunity to have the certification for early childhood?
What we did, when we hired these teachers, we did give them a letter telling them that we were giving them 3 years to obtain their Texas certification, yes.
3 years?
Yes.
However, our neighboring district is not requiring that, right?
Yes, they are, giving them the 3 years also to get their,
Also, they have
yes.
3 years.
Uh-huh.
So the only difference for, oh, I'm
I
sorry.
don't finish it.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, $60,000 we're paying for a certified teacher, and we're gonna pay the same thing for a teacher for the Montessori, with no certification.
They have a,
But they have a bachelor's and they're certified in Montessori. We do it all the time with our CTE teachers. We have teachers like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I thought that it's good for us to have a certified teacher in Montessori for early childhood. Will be great to give them that that notice that they need to be certified will be great.
You wanna go ahead with your presentation or your research?
Well, so I was just, good evening,
Good evening.
Board President, Rodriguez and Dr. Galaviz. So I was just going to, explain, when we first started the Montessori, program here, we did extensive research to ensure that we were starting the program, true to the Montessori method. So the idea was that we would, interview and, hire, certified teachers that were certified in Montessori. So the teachers the guides that we did hire have, years of experience in the private sector in Montessori, and they have obtained their Montessori certification in, the children's house level, which is the, early childhood level that we currently have at San Diego. And so they're specialized in working with children ages 3 to 6. So they do have that early childhood, certification within the Montessori, method. And they came to us with their bachelor's degree with the expectation that within the 3 years that they would work towards their Texas teacher certification because they were working in a public school district. But they are certified within Montessori to work within the early childhood, those ages. When we continued looking at that, I have a wait list, actually a list of about 20 San Diego teachers who are interested in pursuing the Montessori certification. That being said, we hosted meetings. We did, Dr. Kearney had visited, when she was in Dallas for another, training. She was able to, collaborate with one of the schools that offers public school Montessori, and that kind of led us into the direction of working with a group that trains teachers in Montessori in the public sector. So we went and we visited along with Ms. Montañez, Ms. Alarco, and myself and Dr. Kearney, and we got to go visit. So we started to investigate, and we got a quote. We had to kind of put a hold on it because we had such a long list of teachers that wanted to pursue it, and Dr. Galaviz kind of led the charge to say, we should help our teachers become certified, so we can grow the program. So we did get a quote from them, but then we found that it was a little bit difficult only because we would have to, either our teachers would have to really dedicate time to going to Dallas, which is travel, so on and so forth, or we would fly in those trainers to come and train our teachers here. So we did kind of, meet, we tried to see how we could make it work, and then as we were continuing to open up classrooms here in San Diego, we opened up a second classroom and then another one at Davenport, we kind of it stopped for a little while. We are still in talks with that particular working towards partnerships, pre-K partnerships with our childcare and other schools. We have about 2 Montessori private schools that are now offering certification at their sites. We, in fact, have one of our own aides that is in the Montessori classroom. She is currently going through the program, and it's a year-long program. It entails part online courses, and then also there are several weeks designated to in-classroom observations and putting things into practice. So they are very flexible in terms of working with us to ensure that it doesn't interfere with, because they know that if we have teachers that have their own classrooms, they're doing it during spring break, during summer, and our teachers are very excited about the program, that they're willing to designate that time to pursue that. But then of course there's the cost. So the cost varies. Now that we are talking to these other schools that are offering it, it runs anywhere from I think Dallas was going to charge us a little over $6,000. It's about $6,700 to obtain that children's house level. Here, Casa Infantil Montessori was able to provide us a little less expensive quote. So it's around maybe $5,000 to $6,000 per teacher to pursue that certification. But we see it as an investment, because then if we get our teachers to obtain that certification, they already have the Texas teacher certification, and we can grow our own here within the district. But there is a high demand, and we have a wait list of children and families that really want to provide this opportunity for their students. So that's kind of the research that we've done, and within the past year, it's just expanded into opportunities within our own region, where our private schools are willing to collaborate with us and support this initiative.
Is there any other questions? What I would recommend, if possible, if we could do, because I think this is sort of like with the national board certification, we need to figure out how we can have more teachers as we have higher quality instruction in the classroom, or different type of methodologies that parents might want. I think it's important for us to incentivize current teachers to look at that, and I think I would recommend if we could look at the stipend model, sort of like the national board certification. I believe it's $3,000. If you have a bachelor's, $4,000. If you have a master's, $5,000. If you have, so if that's okay with the board, I would like to add that as one of the options.
Add the option today, or we get research on what we would
do
do?
the same. It's sort of, we already have it in place for the national board certification. So a long time ago, 12 years ago, we even talked about the Montessori program then, but we had Teacher America come to us looking at providing us, Teacher America teachers, and the conversation then led, we didn't go that route, but it was how do we create, I'm not an educator, you probably could say this better than I can, but the continuing learning of teachers and those certifications, that values, there's research that shows national board certified teachers. So how do we get more teachers in that route? So we created a stipend, and that's the way it was. So if you get a national board certification, and now TA, it's part of the TIAC. So I think it's important for us to just follow that same basic model for Montessori and any other programs, because if there's a demand, especially for us to attract new and or bring back some of our students, I think that it would help to have more teachers, and that's the reason why there's discussion, because a Montessori teacher is not nationally board certified. I mean, it's not certified teacher certified.
Texas
teacher certified. Then what we should do is incentivize those that are, so that way we can get more, and hopefully develop that program, and continue to develop that program. I
And I get it, I understand all that, and I'm a proponent. I just wanna know, cause I wanna just, make a motion. Today, the only thing we're deciding is, are we gonna pay them like our certified teachers, right?
They're not gonna hire at the starting pay at 60,000.
Okay, so I move that,
The agenda item reads discussion and possible action regarding Montessori program teachers. So we are able to include, the stipend program.
I would like to, get more information and see on the stipends, cause we are in the deficit still. I am in agreement, cause we do it now I think we'll attract them, and this is my opinion, I think we'll attract them with the 60,000. I mean, what are they going from now at that range that you said to 60,000? We'll be competitive enough, and I think Cantillo is inviting the school district where they want to come work here, and then I would like to see, maybe we discuss, get more information on the stipends, because I think stipends, open a can of worms, and, I've seen it. And then we're gonna fall into, well, what about me? I want a stipend, I specialize in this, and I want a stipend, and I get it with the Montessori.
For others, I mean, we have them for special ed, we have them for others. If you look at what, it's a simple market issue, right? There's not enough supply of Montessori teachers in El Paso. When we have our neighboring district opening up Montessori programs, then we need to make sure, and this program lasts, 7 months, or it's gonna take a year.
So we're gonna pay for them to do that, plus we're
No, we're
gonna
not
give them
talking about
stipend?
that, we're looking at the stipend, so hopefully they get incentivized to start the program. And that way we're growing our own teachers.
Incentivized because they're gonna get a stipend?
Correct.
Does EPISD give a stipend?
No. And on top of it, we need to pay for their certification, right?
No. If there's
Okay,
a
that's-
possibility that, I would recommend that we research how we can
Yes,
do that.
that's-
And we could probably.
Cree or someone could
Cree
also-
helps with,
Right, yeah.
others, so we could probably look at them, partner up on this as well.
And
And
we
maybe
did,
nationally board certified too.
yeah, and I did talk to, initially, maybe it was a few months back, speaking with the representative from Cree, and inviting him to come and visit the classroom, and speaking about how we wanted to grow the program, so that's definitely something that we could start to see if they could help support with that certification, because we had mentioned wanting our teachers to go through, and to earn that, so that's something that we can propose.
And I think initially, by offering to cover the cost or the expense for the program, for them to go through it, I think that would be the start.
Yeah. And that's
Just
not
like
part of
45%.
the discussion. The reason why I'm saying we're dealing with the salary as well as, and if the board doesn't want to go that route, that's fine. But I think it's important for us to start getting teachers to think about it, and that's gonna help.
And Martha, where's the money's gonna come from? To pay the teachers? To pay the teachers, it is the general fund. So
We can't use-
we are low in general fund already, right?
we can't use the early childhood allotment,
No, that would be a question for this board.
cause it is 3-year-old program, and that 3-year-old program, I mean, you could call it Montessori, you could call it Taiko, you could call it whatever, it's still 3-year-olds. I would say that we could get it out of the early childhood allotment.
Right, so the.
It's still $199 though.
Yeah, it's all rolled into $199 already, it's already allocated, the early childhood allotment is already allocated within the budget. So there's not like a surplus of funds that we could allocate directly to this, however, we could code it to the allotment. But it's not additional revenue that we have available.
And, I'm sorry, I just really quickly, and I'm telling you, I'm okay with going to the 60,000 and being a teacher, we do it already. I am a little hesitant on the stipend, I would like more information, like how many teachers are we looking at, how many more? If we grow it, what if we get like 30 teachers, and that's 30 times 3,000? I think we need to be mindful of that, cause then we backtrack,
Well,
You have only the fund balance.
How many certified teachers that teach Montessori do we have? The issue is
Right
trying
now,
to.
we have 0.
We have 0, so it would have 0 impact on this year's budget. that what it's trying to do is create the, if you're a certified teacher, right? And you have somebody that's not a certified teacher, that they're getting paid the same amount because they're Montessori, we're trying to figure out how to balance that, but at the same time grow our own. So it would have zero impact this year, but it's hopefully creating more, as we've seen, more nationally board certified teachers. And I think right now our district has probably the most nationally board certified teachers in the region, which that's something that we should celebrate and sell, because that's what we're having to do in this competitive environment that we're going to see continue, especially with vouchers.
And I get it, and I see what you're saying, but you actually kind of helped my case here, where you said, we have, here you have Lucy Borrego, who's a certified teacher, I think $60,000 a year. Montessori hasn't been making that. All of a sudden they're going to go up to $60,000, and that's certified, and I'm going to give them a $3,000 stipend.
Not for the. You're not going to get the stipend for. You have to be a certified teacher.
In order to get the stipend. I guess you're offering the stipend, you're talking about offering a stipend to an individual that has both Texas certified teacher and Montessori. So that means they would have to go through the Montessori program. Once they have both, then that's what I'm understanding you're saying.
Yes.
We set up a stipend because they have both.
And it would have zero impact on the budget this year, but we're hoping to create. Hopefully some of these teachers will then say, you know what, I'm going to do that certification this year, and next year, then we start, because there's not that many Montessori teachers. That's what the issue is here. And we just got, how many Montessori teachers do we have total?
We have 3 positions. Right now, I only have 1 teacher left.
The overall program, so we have 3 teachers, we lost 2. And
Well, because they're getting paid $60,000 next door, but we're about to pay them $60,000.
if that's the market, but they're already over there and they already have a year contract. So how we're gonna actually get those 2 versus more, because we know there's a demand for this program.
Well, because we're gonna CISD, the teachers get paid the same, is my opinion. What's administration's recommendation? Dr. Galaviz, what's your recommendation? Do you think?
I just wanted to know if the stipend comes from the state.
No.
No, we're not talking about a stipend right now. It would,
Well, we are,
I know we're talking about a stipend, but you were offering, my understanding is that you want to offer a stipend once they have the Montessori and their teacher certification.
in order for them
Yes.
to be paid.
So I can tell you that right now, we have 0 that would qualify for that.
Correct.
So the stipend for this coming school year is a moot point because we have no one. We can start looking at that to setting it up for maybe the following year. If we have some of the teachers that enroll into that program that Ms. Carrillo's talking about, and then once they go through that program, then we can start looking at the stipend. In the meantime, I would suggest that, or I would recommend that, you know, if there's funding, that be set aside so that we can start sending some of these teachers through that program.
So the funding will be to 106 times 3, $180,000.
Well, I don't know how many teachers would be recruited or interested based on what Ms. Carrillo was saying.
We have the money for 2 or 3 at least.
So you're saying for the 3?
Yes, for the new teachers, yes, because we were paying 45,000, right? And they went over there, they were attracted by the neighbor district because they pay better, right? 60,000. Now we need to hire them at the same level, 60,000.
That's correct. So what I need to do is post for, or recruit for those 2 teachers that left.
Okay.
And so I want to be able to offer the $60,000 salary.
And it has to be 60,000, not less 50,000.
60,000 would be the starting pay for the teacher pay scale.
And we can always wait for the stipend, not until they qualify or whatever. They have the certifications.
Yeah, we can have those conversations about the stipend, but we don't need to allocate that at this point in time.
Okay, so we need it. What about the principal? What do you think about that?
I think it's a great
other campus, the campus over there in Dallas, and we had a lot of interest in our teachers wanting to become Montessori certified. And I think that makes it an incentive to have the stipend. But because we want certified teachers, they would already be certified in Texas and then just be getting certified in Montessori. I think it's a win-win situation.
Okay, so when will we create the criteria for the stipend? So, and I want to be clear, the stipend, you will only receive the stipend if you're Texas teacher certified with all the credentials plus Montessori.
That's correct.
And is that administration's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, I move that,
Wait, can I stop you?
Yes.
This trustee Moreno. So are we paying them?
That's not part of the conversation.
$6,000?
no.
We're not?
Are we
Not right now. I mean, we're trying to figure out a way to do that. If this is, right now, that would have a zero impact to the budget. We have a possible incentivize. If I'm a teacher that's teacher certified, I'm not gonna go get Montessori if I'm gonna go get the same. But if I get a $3,000 stipend, they might think of investing in it right now to do it. And so that's, because long term, hey, I pay for this class $5,000, well, in 2 years I already paid for it, and that's gonna be, residual income over the life of the teacher, and that's what we're trying to do. Right now it's a zero impact, sort of think outside the box idea, and then hopefully we're not only are we bringing more teachers, we could probably still, especially if they're certified in it, but we're also.
And they have till June 30th, by the way. So if we post it tomorrow, it starts in May.
Yeah.
we will go out and recruit starting tomorrow.
I agree with Trustee Rodriguez, President Rodriguez. I don't think we pay, you have to be motivated to go get the certification, and I want that extra $3,000, like a bilingual teacher, like the SPED teacher they go and get, because they want that extra stipend. So I move that we, our Montessori teachers go to teacher pay at $60,000 or whatever, I'm not gonna give an amount, right? Administration's recommendation, and that in the future, with making sure that they're teacher certified, Texas teacher certified, and Montessori, that they are eligible for a stipend at $3,000. Second.
All of the same then, so it's 3,405. So if you're a master, yeah. Are you okay to run your motion with that?
Yes, that's fine, because that's the way
Okay.
masters and doctorate get.
There's a motion and a second. Adrian, can you pull the board?
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Senator?
Yes.
Mrs. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, board.
Brian, what was the next?
C.
Do you want to go to 5C? Update from procedure on bond 2024.
This is the budget. I believe Ms. Cooley's back, right? Are we ready? We were a bit, and we were waiting for Ms. Cooley, that's fine.
5A, discussion takes, 4A. Public hearing regarding the proposed 2024-2025 annual budget. The public is invited to attend and provide public comment. Please enter Ms. Christie Cooley.
Good evening, Board President Rodriguez, Dr. Galagos, board members. I bring to you our 2025 budget, and a lot of the slides, the beginning of the slides are the same ones that we went through during the budget workshop. So I'm going to fast forward to the revenue projection, FY25 revenue projections, which is our new update, which I don't know.
You can take us through the whole thing again.
Probably have it memorized.
I dream about it.
A little more. Right there. Okay. So I have updated the revenue projection for the upcoming school year, and I have taken it from 94% attendance to 95%. We ended fiscal year 24 at 95.14. I think this is very doable. I think our enrollment number is conservative, so I think that this is a safe update to the revenue projection, and this will generate about $360,000 additional revenue.
for the school district. Also, we have completed doing the different shifting around the campus of all the budget allocations, and this is the final results of our allocations per campus. Most of these reductions were from program reductions, from changing from block schedule to traditional, and also right-sizing our elementary schools. We also have an update to the administrative cost ratio. When this has actually changed for fiscal year 25, the old formula that applies for everything prior to that is that everything that was function 21 and 41, instructional leadership and general administration, was divided by instructional functions only, such as 11 for instruction, 12 for instructional resources, which is libraries, function 13, curriculum and staff development, and function 31. The change that has come about, that's coming, and which will be rated on the first rating for fiscal year 25, that it will, the top number basically will remain the same. However, the bottom number is going to be divided by all expenditures. But with that said, our goal was always at 10% before. However, they have changed the scales as well. With this new ratio, on the next slide, in order to obtain the maximum points, the 10 points, we would have to be at about 5.5%. And we are currently at about 6.85. So as you see, we are still a little bit short on the administrative cost ratio, but of course the scale has also changed. And we did go through the fund balance categories. Unless there's any questions, I'll just skip over that one. And your next update has the estimated fund balance and the projected revenues over expenditures for the general fund. This is excluding the child nutrition program. We do anticipate to end the year at a surplus of at least $500,000. Most of this is from revenue that is being generated through the tech stock sale, the acquisition of the central office building. Our fund balance is projected to be at $13.7 million, which will leave us with about 70 days of fund balance, which although is not optimum, it is still within policy regulation. For the upcoming school year, we started at $9 million, if you remember when we first came to you. Through a lot of hard work, collaboration, and a lot of brainstorming and a lot of difficult decisions, that deficit has been brought down to $2.75 million. So we do anticipate that we will end the year at about $10 million. This will bring us down below our our minimum fund balance, but we're still a work in progress. The budget, it's a moving object. We can always make adjustments, and we're still working towards bringing down that deficit.
I do have a question, Mr. Shen. The deficit is from 2.750. So we used to have in 2023, 2024, 6 million deficit, right?
Correct.
Okay. We come down to 2.750 because of, are we paying with the cuts that we make of personnel? What else did we do?
Correct. So we had program changes, and my understanding is that most of those, as far as the instructional side, was through attrition. There wasn't any actual cuts to people, rather positions, vacant positions. And so it's been just a different, we've also had program changes, we've cut a few programs, we've looked at expenditures, things like software, which is probably one of our major costs for the district, has been cut. Or we've also had every department, every campus has reached out to vendors to negotiate with them, and has actually been very successful at bringing down some of the costs. Our vendors have been able to help us, or we've negotiated longer contracts with them,
where we get a discounted rate if we sign a 3-year contract for software that we're gonna use for 3 years anyways, where they'll lock the rates. So things like that, strategies like those is what we've done.
So this 2.750 is from 2023, 2024?
No, that's for next, for the upcoming school year, that's
Or
the debt.
25?
Correct.
But what happened with the debt that we have in 2023, 2024?
We will end at least at a surplus of $500,000.
500,000, and the other one is being absorbed like what you explained me already.
Correct.
So we're gonna have only 535,160
Correct. That'll be a surplus.
from 2023, 2020.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Thank you.
So that brings us to our next items. We had brought these before, and I just wanted to make sure that that these came for your consideration, which was the CISD student trip and the marketing budget. Mr. Niveles has provided an update on the marketing budget from the last board meeting that we had. You all wanted a breakdown of that budget, and
I have a quick question. Oh, I'm sorry. No,
So
sorry.
I just wanted to know, Mr. Reveles, the amount, he was requesting 250,000, but also there's some amount aside from function 41 to this function, right? From function 41, from the budget, do we have assigned for him as well?
yeah, no, so the part, so
I was
if
reading that.
we do provide a marketing budget,
Uh-huh.
it will be allocated to function 41, yes.
And do we have the amount? Is this one?
Yes, it's the 250,000, correct.
Okay. Because I thought from function 41, I was reading, and I was requesting why that amount increased, and then I think there's some amount already assigned for him as well, right? For his department, for PIO?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to know if I was correct.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And do you think 250,000 is less, more, is okay for? To promote the school, this is with intention of what? To promote the school, to attract the students back to our school district?
Correct. This is in response to the community's the request and the board's request to really increase and start promotions of the school district and its incentives and its initiatives in order to really attract and retain our students here at Cantillo. So we want to make sure that we address that issue. It came up time and time again during the bond campaign. It came up time and time again during conversations about the future of the school district. So we want to make sure that we address those. With these funds, we're going to be able to market to families, not just in Cantillo, but in nearby school districts, in order to showcase our students, showcase our talent, showcase our programs, and like I said, attract and retain our students. We're going to be using traditional advertising like billboards and commercials, digital advertising, direct mailing, and printing, so that we can welcome new families into the school district as they're moving into our new subdivision, letting them know what options they have for enrollment here in Cantillo, and then letting the people that are may not be as familiar with the school district be aware of the programs we have and the opportunities that exist for the children in our school.
And when do you plan to start to provide this information to the community?
So we are going out, because of the amount, we're gonna go out for an RFP to make sure that we get the help we need in order to place these ads. These are professional ads that need to be sold and bought. So we're gonna get some help. We wanna do it right, so we're going to, as soon as this is approved and the budget goes into effect, we're gonna go into an RFP and get a professional to help us.
So to be ready for this next coming school year, so they
Yes.
could see that we have Montessori, whatever we got here.
Montessori,
All the things, all the
Oxford,
Norris Early College and all that.
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm very pro this, and it did come up over and over and over, and I think we definitely needed, there's not enough information out about Cantillo ISD. We're definitely doing TV, right? Because I
Yes.
think that one is huge, even if it's like a quick blurb on TV. Everybody watches TV and.
Yeah, the RFP that we've written out preliminarily in anticipation of your approval of the budget does include TV, digital, sound, for podcasting, people listen to
Mr. Rivera, something that I would like, and it's not a huge cost, maybe a little bit of catering or whatever, is to invite, have a realtors, open house where we invite all the realtors here, where we could showcase everything that we're doing and we show them what our bond is. So because they will give us free advertising because they want to sell houses.
Yeah, one of the ideas that's great to hear you say that. One of the ideas that's been brought up is to do a welcome guide that, with the help of the realtors, we can provide to brand new homeowners as they move in. You know, when they move in, they normally get a basket from the realtor, and give them this printed glossy material that will they'll be able to say like, hey, Cantillo offers Montessori, Northwest Early College. They offer dual credit, academies at the middle school, all the great things that are happening in the school system, and that they may not know.
And another thing is, a lot of restaurants are going up in our area, especially in that Cimarron area where they just opened Dion's. There's a lot of restaurants where I think they're happy to promote Cantillo ISD, and going to talk to the store managers and saying, hey, I mean, obviously you're not going to put a jersey at West Texas Chop House, but there's other places where you can, where they'll do that free advertisement, and I think that's important. Toro Burger, I'm sure would do it. There's a lot of places.
We already started conversations with Dion's, and they're very excited to partner up with.
Okay, I'll sure he knows what.
Yeah, I think just being able to wrap around not only, I mean, we're looking at social media, we're looking at still traditional mail, we need to look at emailing, creating a system approach to this. And
The idea is to build on the great things that are happening, and then really build on 3 opportunities that you have for promotion with a media partner, with social media, and just build on that with some broad media in order to really reach the families that we want to target.
The welcome toolkit, and I think we can help supplement the spot, especially from the bond side, once these projects come out to showcase what that.
Okay, and I think you'll hear a little bit about that later on when procedure comes in.
Okay.
So Ms. Bullock, just one more question. So then this amount of 250,000 is considering over there is already considering in this deficit, or this is out to put in, or this is in?
It's
to be taken out?
It's included in the 2.75.
Oh, it is included
Yes,
already?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
There's no other questions, I guess we'll open it up for public comment.
We're still gotta go through the child nutrition and debt service.
Oh, sorry.
So, next is the child nutrition fund. This is a, self-sufficient fund, and actually has excess fund balance. So if you notice, we do project that this year, we're anticipating to end the year in a deficit of 1.2 million. However, this is a required expenditure. There's excess fund balance. They're only allowed to have 90 days, and we are on a spending plan with TDA. So this was a planned expenditure. For the upcoming school year, we do anticipate for it to be balanced, and also we are anticipating it might still have a little bit of excess fund balance, but Mr. Macias is working to ensure that he falls within the 90 days, below the 90 days for this upcoming school year. Next is our debt service, and this is for the most part based on property taxes. This is what services our bonds, and now that with the successful passage, now we will also be paying for our maintenance tax notes through the debt service. We do anticipate it to be a balanced budget for the upcoming school year. It is ending in a $1.4 million deficit. However, we did have excess fund balance for which we issued a defeasance to bring that down.
Can I add to that? Because today, we sold $100 million today, and for the 2024 bond election, the interest rates on the bonds were 4.47, which is over 50 basis points less than what we're anticipating. And the district was successful in moving the maintenance tax notes from that side, saving that $1 million. So some good news today in regards to how the market reacted to our bonds.
Absolutely. So on the last page, you will have the budget that you will be approving. It is, the board approves the budget at the function level, and it is broken down by function, the general fund, the child nutrition, as well as the debt service.
So, is there any public comment? If hearing no public comment, I just want to thank staff. I know it's been tough times over the last 2 years, especially after the last legislative session. One was the inaction of the legislator. Two was inflationary costs, as we've seen costs go up from 17% and higher on certain stuff. Not only that, it's actually hurting our teachers and our staff. I wish we were to be able to give them a raise or try to do something about that, but without the inaction of the legislator, it puts us in this bind. Not only that, we also had the ESSER cut for the federal money that was coming from the state. That was one of the issues. So just a lot of issues that came over the last 2 years, but on last year's budget, you all continued to work in narrowing the deficit, and I'm sure we're going to continue to work on narrowing the deficit, so hopefully it's not 2.7, it might be in half, whatever that may be, but I know we'll be prudent, and thank you to your staff, Dr. Valdez and Christine, we appreciate
To bring down those
especially in
numbers.
these times. Yeah.
So if there's nothing else, so I would like to make a motion.
No.
Oh, we need to discuss.
Close the public hearing and then go
Yeah,
to the agenda.
so I'm opening up the public hearing. Is there a resolution we have to, or we could just approve by administration's recommendations?
After you close
Yeah.
4A, you have to.
So
close 5A.
if there's no public comment, we're moving to 5A, which is the public comment portion. If there's no public comment, then I'll close it now, and that will take us to the opportunity to approve the budget.
I just have a question before to make the motion. Is the board aware, and we agree to make the motion with a deficit of $2,750,000?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so if there's nothing else to say, I would like to move, to make the motion to approve the 2020.
No, no, you gotta read the agenda item out, you guys have done that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Item 5, Board of Trustees business. 5A, discussion and take possible action regarding the approval of the 2024-2025 annual budget. Presenter Ms. Christie Poole.
now. Okay, I just wanted to underline this, that it's a deficit for the 2024-2025 budget of $2,750,000. Asking to my colleagues, am I agreed that we could pass and approve this budget with that deficit? Is everyone
Make
agree?
a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and now, is everyone agreeing
We're
with that?
gonna take the vote, so if you wanna make that motion.
And that was it, okay. I would like to make the motion to approve the 2024-2025 proposed budget of $89,117,994.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Adrian, can you pull the board?
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Christine.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Wait.
Numbers right here.
The next page,
The next.
keep going to the very last.
There we go. Go ahead, you could continue.
Mr. Rodriguez? Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strauch?
Yes?
Mrs. Zuniga?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
That will take us to the next item.
Good job, Ms. Cooley.
Thank you.
5C, update from procedure on bond 2024. Presenter Ernesto Martinez and Rose Ocero.
I thought we were going back in order.
Go back
Yeah.
to 5B.
Sorry about that. 5B, consideration of the creation of the Cantillo ISD Public Facility Corporation under Chapter 303 of the Texas Local Government Code to act on behalf of the Cantillo Independent School District. Presenter Adam Harden.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Galavis, as Adrian pointed out, I'm not Adam Hart, I'm Armando Cantu filling in today with a brief overview on public facility corporations. And so, Adrian, we have a presentation. I don't know if you have that in the materials.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So the purpose of this talk, I guess, is to sort of give an overview of what a public facility corporation is and what its uses are with respect to a school district. To put it very generally, a public facility corporation is a corporate entity authorized by statute to effectuate the building and placing into service of public facilities. The key word there is corporation. As you may know, when businesses want to reduce their liability or shelter their liability, they create a corporation which maintains the liability within the LLC. Under Texas statutes, a PFC can issue bonds. This is where that liability thing comes. A bond issued by a PFC is not payable from taxes of the school district. It's considered for most purposes a separate entity from a school district. So, it's a nonprofit corporation created by a sponsoring governmental entity. That would be a city, a school district like this one, or special district. Once created, the PFC has the power to issue bonds, like I said, and the money must be used on in accordance with IRS rules for tax exemption. So the PFC's purpose is to expand the district's ability to provide additional incentives for public-private partnership and finance workforce housing by providing 100% ad valorem tax exemption, including both property and sales tax. If we go on to the page 4. So to put this in more relative terms, I think that I can talk a little bit about my experience with public facility corporations. Usually you see one of three structures with a school district. And mind you, a PFC entity has been around for a while, but it is more of an advanced, sort of outside the box way of financing improvements. What we've seen in the past is, say the district wanted to build an administration building or a new wing or some sort of a discrete physical building that would be for non-classroom purposes, right? Maybe a performing arts or athletics. The district could create a PFC, and the PFC could issue bonds. And with the proceeds of that bond, the money that comes in from that bond could construct the building. The PFC would then rent that property back to the district. And the district would use it for its public purposes. Now, why would a school district do that? Well, whether it's for Robin Hood or bond funds or what have you, instead of issuing INS tax debt, issuing bonds to build the facility itself, it's able to pay rent to the separate entity, this PFC that the district created, and that rent would be considered an M&O expense, a maintenance and operating expense. So that's sort of a roundabout way to say that some districts in the state of Texas have used a PFC to facilitate the construction of school district buildings using maintenance and operations taxes. There's a couple of other ways, and one of those examples would be perhaps, say the district owned land that wasn't, probably undeveloped, and maybe the district had priorities. I know in some of our clients, Austin ISD, and other districts in that area, one of the big problems that they're having right now is a teacher shortage. And so the ability for a district to create teacher housing is sort of big on their minds. So, an apartment complex, how much does that cost? Let's imagine 50 million, right? Where would the district find 50 million to build an apartment to house teachers? Well, if they have land already, what they would do is create, say, a PFC, and this is all example, this is not the only way it can be done, but just an illustration. Create a PFC, a Public Facility Corporation, transfer the land to the PFC, and then have the PFC reach out to developers to build the property for them. The PFC, as an extension of the district, will continue to own the land, but they'll contract with a developer to build and manage an apartment complex with restrictions or certain rules or requirements or strings attached to say you're going to put this many teachers in here every year. And what would the developer want with those restrictions, right? He's a businessman. Well, let's say that property costs $50 million. If a developer wants to go out and build an apartment complex with an assessed value of $50 million, in most school districts, they'll be paying over $1 million a year in taxes. So that, I'm sorry?
Deductible?
Well, that would be a tax expense, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there would be, some deduction. I'm not sure once you get that high, but now, because that land and the apartment is owned by the PFC, it's tax exempt from property taxes. It's district property. You're exempt from sales tax as a district. That property tax exemption and that sales tax exemption sort of bathe the developer in that glow. So imagine if you have to run, like I said, an apartment complex and your annual expenses, and you're automatically able to reduce your property tax and your sales tax for the construction, that's a big incentive for developers to come in and enter into a contract with a PFC, whereby the PFC would lease them the apartment. They'd be required to house a certain number of teachers or a certain number of low income or a certain number of what have you, and they would be able to manage it on behalf of the district and reap some of the benefit that comes from the tax exemption that the district has. So that's sort of, in essence, the nature of this PFC statute. It's giving sort of outside the box ways for a district to team up with developers to create public facilities. It has to be for a public purpose.
And how would that, I could see in Austin, because teachers can't afford to live in Austin, right? So I could see the apartment. How would that benefit us to get in this partnership? How would that benefit us here in Canutillo?
Well, I wouldn't know without a specific detail, which I'm not sure if would be relevant in open session. This is sort of a higher overview, but let's say that the district had land, right, and needed to build some sort of public facility. There'd be a couple of ways to do it. It depends on what it is you need to do. The benefit here for you guys is that you do not have to issue bonds. You do not have to go into debt. The debt would be created by this PFC, and that would never count against your tax rate. Any bond issued by the PFC would have to be paid from revenues either coming from the developer in some instances or from the district in other instances, which would be, it's not really done so much anymore.
Can I add just real quick? I guess the overall conversation in regards to looking at the PFC, we actually had this item originally when TechSouth wanted to purchase a property, and we didn't know how. I believe El Paso ISD did that for their central office. what we're looking at is, as we know, the sale of this building to TxDOT triggered, the long-term effects that this building is not suitable for the future district's needs, especially with the cut that TxDOT did on the building. That thankfully they allowed us to stay within the building and let us keep the other portion of it. And we've moved staff to Lone Star and other places. And so it's not necessarily just apartments, it's looking at central office, but whatever, that's gonna come back to the board. But what I wanted to, talking with administration is let's have an overview of what the PFC is. That way we could have questions about it and then look at how we go about it. But it's not necessarily apartments, it's just trying to find a way where hopefully, as we know, the legislator is gonna, they haven't funded us and they're probably gonna pass vouchers. So how can we address the needs of our district in regards to central office and others without having an impact to the taxpayer or the M&O? As we know, we've already had that with the maintenance tax notes, and it's not that. So it's how do we find different instruments or mechanisms to figure out what we need, especially when and if we do sell the rest of this portion as well as other areas. It's just trying to come up with, while letting the professionals work numbers and work all that and see if it's viable, and then it comes back to the board and we can move forward. So I think that's what the overview was about. It's not.
So there's no action tonight?
No, it's just
informational? Okay, and we're gonna get more information obviously before we make a decision. And once we do, let's say that we approve it, for every project it must come to the board?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The owners of the PFC is the district.
Right, and so the way it would be structured, it could be structured with a separate board, or the current school district board would be the directors of the PFC.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, we've had a PFC, if I'm not mistaken, in years prior, which worked very well to our benefit.
I'm sure you know, but was this a P3? I mean, not a P3, was this this building?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how we purchased this building. Am I correct, Steve?
I think so.
So we're gonna be educated a little bit more before, this is just opening the discussion today.
Right, and so what Ms. Mendoza's speaking of is most likely one of those scenarios where the PFC issues debt and then rents back to the district. And then after a certain number of years, the property is turned over for $1 once the bonds are paid off. So that's, I'm not familiar with that issuance, but that was one structure. The other, potential hypothetical that Mr. Rodriguez was speaking to, you could sell land, or you could create a partnership with a private corporation and enter into a partnership or a special entity to have an ownership interest in, say, an apartment complex or some other facility that serves the public need. And in lieu of that tax exemption, because let's say the apartment complex, I know it's not talking about that, conceivably, every year that they're exempt from taxation, you could have a payment in lieu of taxes, for instance, where the developer, in exchange for, let's say, $2 per 100 on $50 million, $1 million, if they were to give you back 15% every year, and you maintain control of the property, which was tax exempt before you owed it anyway, that's a net positive for the district's cash flow.
For the district.
Exactly.
And the developer, the win-win for the developer is the taxes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so this is but again, it's hard for me to give the general overview because there's so many possibilities. So what I'm doing is sort of shooting down.
It doesn't have to be an apartment complex.
No.
That's just an example.
This building.
The the key here, I think one of the major things with a public facility corporation is that it shifts risk in the same way a corporation would an LLC for an individual business owner.
Less revenue.
Potentially, yes. What happens within the PFC, the liability there is, let's say an asteroid hits a administration building that the PFC owns. That's PFC's problem. And they're teamed up with somebody else who has the money. You own, a limited partnership agreement, and the PFC's assets are restricted within that partnership that they made, if that makes sense. So, in the same way one would with an LLC, you separate your assets, and that's what you're liable for.
Okay. Corporation.
Mr. Chair, I would like to see if you can tell us a little bit about the worst case scenarios, right? Like says the ones that were part of it, we always have to be there, we cannot withdraw from that position.
Right. And Adrian, that's the last slide page. And again, the worst case scenarios depend completely on the structure of the financing or the structure of the deal that you want to do. But let's say that again, I'll go back to the apartment complex, right? Let's say nobody rents and the business loses money, right? Who's going to pay the debts of that business? Well, in that case, a worst case scenario would be a PFC, right? The corporation, not the district, but the PFC. Now, the PFC has no interest, has no money in it, right? The developer that wanted that tax exemption came in, they gave the money and said, let us build for you in exchange for a tax exemption. So, how liable, it's akin, I won't say the same as, say, a bankruptcy, right? How are you going to go after somebody with no assets? In a situation like this, it's set up for this project to be undertaken under a PFC so that the district has no liability, if that makes sense.
So only the corporation is gonna be the whole responsibility?
Right.
Yes?
Well, a corporation, and again, it gets a little complicated. A corporation would create a special entity in which it partners with a developer. So PFC Corp 2, right? Where the two partners in that partnership is a PFC and a developer. And they own, in this, to continue to a building or an apartment or some income producing public property. Those are the only assets that they can go after. And so that's
So then, in other words, we will lose, the PFC, we lose the building, right? We're not gonna get nothing, but we're gonna still own the land?
In most situations, it would depend on how the deal is structured, because when you think of all the moving parts, in some cases, a developer comes in with land and says, here, have it. I'm transferring it to you. Now let's partner up. In some cases, the district owns the land, and in that situation, we'd be much more careful to protect the assets.
So then we could lose that asset too.
Well, if that were a possibility, we probably would not advise in that situation to enter into that kind of agreement. But like it says here, should a project fail, the equity provider or lender could take over the project, and the PFC could lose control. However, in doing so, the equity provider or lender could jeopardize their tax exempt status. So this is unlikely.
That's unlikely.
And again, that's another issue, and it sort of doesn't speak to where the district owns the land itself, but if there were a project that the district, the PFC, and a partner were partnered into, what I was saying, the developer, the one with the funds, could walk away, but they're still liable. And most times, when something like this happens, the benefit of that tax exemption is so high that they have no interest in starting a fight. They want to make it work somehow. But to go into specifics, it would really depend on, what the district's ideas are, and then we will work around, how can we fit this in? If this fits the district's needs to do a PFC, how can we make that work in a way that limits your exposure, limits any tax obligations, and potentially gets you some benefits that you need in a way that maybe wouldn't have been affordable before.
Yeah, it was my question, well, with what purpose we should create this, and how it's gonna benefit to the school district, what we're gonna jeopardize, what can we jeopardize? But you already told us, well, it'd be like tax exempt.
Right,
So-
and again, the worst case scenarios
Yeah.
are in situations where, where we're doing big things, right? Or really outside of the box things. That's the crux of a PFC. They have the powers of a corporation under state law. A school district has the powers of a school district. And so that world is much smaller than what a PFC can do as a corporation. So you're looking into a new world of possibilities. In reality, there's probably, after conferring with you guys, there'll probably be 1 or 2 or 3 possibilities that mitigate risk and provide the benefit that you need. It just sort of depends on which direction the district wants to go. In most cases, when a school district does a PFC, probably at the most basic level, it's a way for a school district to transfer construction obligations to the M&O side. And that may or may not be a priority for the district, but in those situations, there's really not much risk at all. Sometimes, in years past, school districts would partner up in apartment complexes outside of their jurisdiction, or
Then already some of those school districts have been part of this?
oh yes, PFCs have been around
Is it
for a
very
while.
common?
Yes. It's not as common as school building bonds, for sure, but school building bonds are a much wider general purpose thing for, a bond is like a chainsaw, a PFC is like a scalpel. If you have a specific need that can be targeted through a PFC, then we need to.
But it's for construction only.
Essentially, it could also be for rehabilitation, basically construction, rehab, renovation, revolving around public facilities. So it could be an auditorium, it could be a central office, it could be teacher housing, it could be a number of a gym, right, that serve a public purpose. And that's one of the
And
restrictions.
request money without going for a loan.
Right.
Okay.
So, in one way or another, a PFC doesn't even have to issue bonds. They could partner up with someone else, sort of like a P3 where a private entity is coming in exchange for that tax exemption.
It's like a post-tax note, something like that?
No. Let's say if a PFC were to issue a bond because they needed funds, that would be considered a revenue bond. So it's not payable from taxes, and it's not considered a debt of the school district. So your current debt portfolio, of which the most recent bonds are a part, that portfolio is separate and distinct from anything that the PFC would issue. Anybody that buys the bonds of a PFC, it's part of the statute. The bond that they get, that little piece of paper that says I owe you in 10 years this much money plus 5% interest. It says, right there, we put it in bold, that this is not a debt of the school district, the state of Texas, and it's not payable from taxes. So investors know that the money that they're giving for whatever project that's going to be paid back by the PFC is completely separate from the school district.
Thank you.
Any other? No, if not,
I guess this is just an opening discussion. We'll probably have an item at the next meeting to discuss it further and possibly an action item. But the other thing too is while you have the PFC, but there's the P3 partner, so that could probably be briefed up at the next one as well. But I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you all. That will take us to the next item.
Item 5C, update from Presidio on Bond 2024, presenter Ernesto Martinez and Rose Lucero.
Board President Rodriguez, members of the board, Dr. Galaviz. My name is actually Ernesto Galaviz, just to make sure that we have that on the record. I'm here to give you I'm the program director for Presidio that's in charge of the bond management of the 2024 CISD bond. I'm joined here with Rose Lucero. She's our outreach coordinator for the bond. I want to give you a little bit of a timeline of where we're at now and where we're going. The first slide is really just for 2024. It's the second slide. So I want to emphasize that this is just from now until the end of the year. So in May of 2024, of course, you selected us as your bond program manager. We got a executed contract in early June, along with the notice to proceed. And we began to mobilize our team. We are now housed at the Lone Star Center out there by Alderete Middle School. Our next task is to bring to you in July a scope and schedule of work, along with, we've been working with CBRE, our design team, to give you our recommendations on the proposed land sites for building the 3 new schools. And so that is scheduled for July. In August of 2024, we will put out the RFQs for architects, engineers, consultants, as well as the construction managers at risk, and any other solicitations we may use as an avenue for construction. And then we'll bring that back to you in September for approval. That gives us a good timeline not only to put out the solicitations, but also to get them back and bring those entities in for interviews and then provide you with a recommendation for your approval. Once we do that, then we have the architects and engineers solicited, picked out, we issue them a notice to proceed, and that notice to proceed is for specific projects. Now we may couple those projects with other projects, but that is all part of the program scope and schedule that we will bring in July 23rd of next month. Once they get a notice to proceed, their design starts. And so from now to the end of the year, that's kind of our plan moving forward on the bond program. In any, the next slide, in any bond, there is this phasing, and there's 5 phasing. There's the program planning and the scope definition phase, and we can't, that is a very important part. That's a part where we, together along with the school district, agree on the scope of the projects, the schedule of the projects, and how we are going to implement those. And then there's the design phase, right? We have a design phase where architects are allowed to design the different buildings or design the different projects, consultants on, for instance, the roofing upgrades, the HVAC upgrades. And then we do the construction procurement phase. We'll be doing that in conjunction with the design phase, the design and the CMAR. Ideally, what happens in the CMAR, the construction manager at risk, they give us a guaranteed maximum price once they have 75% of the construction documents. And then we enter into the most exciting phase of it, and that's when we start actually breaking ground and building brand new beautiful schools for our students. And then of course the last one is the post-construction phase. That's when we submit all the closeout documents to you for final acceptance. The pie chart on the bottom is just kind of an example. That's not where we're at right now, but in any time we will be able to give you monthly reports on where we are at on all the different projects that are part of the bond program. Our biggest task right now is to bring you not only the scope and schedule of the different projects, but also to make our recommendations on the land sites that are proposed. We have done some preliminary work on building a bond website. That's in process right now. So our idea is to bring to you the scope and schedule on July 23rd, and then also present that to the principals on July 25th, and then go to CBAC with that same information on August 1st, so that everybody has the same scope, the same schedule. We're all in agreement moving forward on the bond program itself. That's our update. Do you have any questions for us?
I do.
Okay.
Of course I do.
Yes.
So a couple things, and not so much questions, but can we receive your presentation? I can't see that.
Okay.
It's teeny-weeny before, like as part of our board packet, or if you don't have it ready by then, if you could give it to us in hard copy so we could follow along.
Yes.
Please. And then I want you to make sure as a double, just as a safety net, that when we go out for RFQs and all that, that administration is aware and that you remember to let us, board members know because of the code of silence, please.
Yes. Yes, we've had discussions with Ms. Sela about that, and so you will be aware once they go out that we are in a cone of silence.
Okay, thank you. Those are just mine too. Comments more than questions.
What I want to make sure is, in regards to the transparency piece, I think the communication side is going to be critical. And so whether that's going to be quarterly or monthly, developing that consistency, and then developing that report not only to us, but so we could share that with the community.
Yeah, so we'll have an active website that will be project specific, and it will be up to date. We will also do monthly reporting to administration of the school district, quarterly reporting to the CBAC, and then we will attend any board meeting you need any kind of program update to that.
Okay.
And then just really, Dr. Galavis, really quickly, can we get a list and have it, the CBAC, can Adrian send us calendar invites for those? He said August 1, I wasn't aware. Oh, I'm good with that.
The problem with, if the board's gonna attend, we have to make sure we post it, it's gonna be one. So, that's something we need to look at, but I think maybe the initial meeting we could do that and then let that committee work on it.
Okay. And I just have a question. I don't know if this question goes to Mr. Ortiz or to administration, to Dr. Galavis. As we said for transparency as well, of course that we have a contract in place, right?
We have a contract with the school district
yes,
and procedure, yes.
Is this for public notice?
As far as what?
To publish the contract?
It is open to
We voted
public
on
information.
it.
Yeah, the thing is, I would like to see, if there's any way that you can add it to the Thursday packet, I would like to see the contract. And for transparency for the community as well, it's being posted in your website as well? So the community.
We don't have that posted in our website.
Or where, and gotta be posted somewhere, so the community, they should know and read what are the agreements that we came into the contracts.
No, but wasn't it an attachment?
I have not received it, I haven't seen it, and I don't know the.
Good evening, Board President, Dr. Galavis, board members. Contracts are kept in purchasing. We do have a master file. They route through purchasing. We obtain all signatures, and we do keep them in purchasing. They're not posted.
They're not for public.
They're not public.
Even me as a trustee, can I see it?
Yes.
Can I see it? Do I have? Is
Yes.
there any ways that you could make a copy for me to read it, because I don't know what are the terms that you guys end it with? Maybe certain board members, they know, but I don't know, and I would like to see it. And the only thing is the transparency. I said for the community, just to avoid signatures, but is there any ways that the community should know which are, or what kind of agreements we came to at least?
Okay, so the RFQ is out, is awarded. And so that's public information because we do post the awards.
for the RFQ if they would like to,
They
okay?
could go into our ION link, into our electronic
But
link.
me, as a trustee, I do have the access to see the contract.
Yes,
Can you make a copy for me?
yes.
Thank you so much.
And then go through, I just wanna share that our agreements normally go through legal for terminology, legalities, and to ensure that
Yes,
whatever
yes.
we're entering into is.
Just tell me whenever you got it ready, so I can pick it up, so I would like to read. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Thank you.
And Ms. Sita, really quickly, hi. Really quickly, just to, and we had discussed this before, in our packets, when we go through an RFQ or RFP or whatever, we need the scoring rubric, to be included in that. And, we need to see where everybody scored and how they scored, as in the whole packet. Because I think that was discussed where we needed all the information.
Okay.
Please, in our packet for us as trustees.
And that's what we bring it forward for approval for.
Yes, before, yeah, so when they send us the board packet on Thursday or whatever, that we have all the information, including the rubric on where the company's ranked, please.
Yes.
Thank you, Rosita.
It's very important. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Sita.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz.
Any more questions? Okay.
See you tomorrow.
I was just looking, can we go to consent agenda?
Item number 6, consent agenda voting.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Pull the board.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
There is that information that was provided at the last meeting for approval, announced. Item 6A5.
The monthly donations?
No, for, the bond.
Oh,
For the bond management services, there was recommendation to approve the award of RFQ, and it was there, the bond amounts and management, so. I will provide it.
Okay.
Item number 7, executive session, time is 8:10. To consult with attorney under sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. 7A, discussion regarding potential sale of district-owned real property. Presenter Dr. Pedro Galaviz.
board meeting tomorrow?
I do, you know it.
I cannot believe the action item.
I think so. Do you need them? No, so.
Mayor, you guys staying for a closed session for the real estate stuff? Or did you need to stay for that? Hold up, let me ask you. Hold up, let me. You wanna stay there? Stay good.
I'll handle it, this evening, for President Rodriguez, members of the board. I'll give you an update on the particular parcel of land that may be some possibilities for the district to sell in the near future. This time what we need from the board is for you to authorize the administration and CBR rated real estate brokers to secure an appraisal of the land that we discussed in closed session. I'll bring that back to the board.
Do we get a motion? I move.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Adrian, can we pull the board?
Mrs. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sinatra?
Yes.
Mrs. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes. Item number 9, meeting adjournment. Time is